When African Voices first began focusing on changemakers in 2019, one of our very first stories was about the work of Crystal Chigbu. She started a foundation to help young amputees in 2012 after dealing with her daughter's limb loss. We have a very heartwarming update for you. But first, here's a look at that initial story.
I provide children living with limb loss in Nigeria with prosthetic limbs to help them live independent lives. 5 high fives. My name is Crystal Chigbu and I am a change maker.
Beulah has adjusted well to living with a prosthetic limb, but her mother never forgot how difficult the decision-making process was. She also learned that many people in Nigeria are going through the same situation, many with far fewer resources than she had.
In all of this, I realized that the concern that most of them had was how they were going to be able to fund the prostheses. They weren't sure of how they would be able to maintain giving their child prostheses because they were indigent. So for me, I was like, okay, what if I'm able to put resources together from my friends and give this children limbs?
To date, she says the foundation has provided 82 children with 115 prosthetic limbs. Crystal expects the foundation to provide 50 more limbs by the end of the year, including one for this girl.
Kamsi was not born with a congenital deformity. It's as a result of trauma. She had an accident and as a result of that, she got amputated. So it's going to be a lot of process for them, even as a family, trying to understand how to help her emotionally because they've not been here before. Kamsi, come, let me show you something.
Crystal hopes to give this family a bit of relief by providing a prosthetic leg for Kamsi. But prosthetics are not a one-size-fits-all solution. It takes skilled specialists to create them.
I think we met when?
In 2015.
In 2015. So we were going to have our out on a limb walk and he reached out and said he was going to give a child a limb. And he provided the prosthesis for that child for the year and got even more committed to the organization without actually paying him. Since 2015, he's been one of our very credible suppliers in ensuring that we make prosthesis for children.
I felt fulfilled seeing that I could help a child, and there was a platform that we could use to help a child.
Today, the child they're helping is Kamsi.
Awesome.
Victor uses less sophisticated tools and equipment here than he does at his main lab. It helps keep costs low for the foundation, but requires him to put in a lot more sweat into the job. It takes hours of molding, chiseling, drying and sanding that goes well into the next day to make the sockets that will go on Kamsi's leg.
So this feels like you have the child's limb on your hand now. So this is what the adapter looks like. We're going to trim this alongside with Kamsi to get the trimmed edge. Here's the unique thing about her stump. Over the years, she's grown. And now the bone, the tibia, fibula bone, the bone is growing out of her stump. So you could see the bone out here. So she's due for surgery in a few more weeks, where this bone is going to be cut down so she doesn't have to feel pain. So we're trying to make her something that she could use for at least a few weeks to make life easy for her before she goes in for surgery.
After making some modifications and attaching the other prosthetic parts, Kamsi is ready to try walking on 2 limbs for the first time since her accident.
1 high five. So when you do 2 high five. Okay, let's go.
Wow. You can come. So how do you feel seeing Kamsi trying to climb?
I don't know what to say. I just know that I feel very, very great. Happy that she's not up here.
She's going to get used to it. See, she's already trying to move around by herself, even without anybody helping her. We're going to help give her prosthesis till she's 18. More importantly, we're going to help them journey through those years. And there are many other kids like Kamsi.
2 years later, and Crystal is keeping her word. Next, we'll show you how Kamsi has progressed and how the foundation is evolving.
Going to show you how I'm going to wear my prosthetic.
It's been almost 2 years since Kamsi Major received her first prosthetic limb through the IREDE Foundation. She's been given multiple prosthetics since then to keep up with her growing body. We were there as she received her latest limb, and just like 2 years ago, prosthetist Anukam Victor was there to provide his services.
Because she's a growing child, her tibia bone will keep growing and she'll have to go in for many more surgeries before it eventually stops growing. It's amazing to see how far she's grown even after a couple of surgeries, and I'm happy to see that she's getting better over time, and I can't wait to see what she's going to be in another 2, 3 years, 5 years and 10 years from now.
Is that how a big man works? She's very happy now because she can really ride her bicycles with the prosthesis. She runs around with the prosthesis. She can dance with the prosthesis. She says she wants to be a ballerina. So she dances ballet with her prosthesis.
It's just really exciting as you see the children go from, not having any hope to the smiles and the joy and the life that they now have, and their ability to now live independent and limitless lives just because they got an artificial limb, just because there's someone to just be there to support each time that they have to change their limb.
Crystal Chigbu was out of town with her daughter during Kamsi's fitting, so we checked in via webcam.
For as many people that probably saw the first interview of Kamsi walking and now see the progress she's made now, because then she was walking with a limb. It was the first time she was, using the artificial limb and trying to adjust to it. But now she has fully adjusted to the limb, and now she's getting a more sophisticated limb than the one she had before. So you're just going to see a child that's filled with a lot of smiles, joy, and walking better, and not being limited in any way at all.
Crystal says since she first appeared on the show, the foundation was able to step up their output and help many others like Kamsi.
The year before, we had done 21 limbs, and then we did 33 limbs in the year we got the interview. And then last year, 2020, we were able to do 50 limbs. And that's because we had more funds available to us, because also we had more support and people wanting to volunteer to be a part of the organization. So really, really good for us. We became top of mind awareness for people. A lot more people got to know that we existed. So that brought in more support for us, because some people would say, I've been looking for an organization to support, and I watched your CNN interview and it gave me encouragement, and I know that I can support the organization. Also, it opened up a pool of more people, more children that we can work with and support, because then people knew how they could refer the organization to people that needed our help. Because when a lot of people watched Beulah riding her bicycle and swimming, they saw possibilities, in disability, and that's really just created a mind shift and a mind change.
Crystal says her daughter Beulah, who is now 12 and attending boarding school, continues to inspire her to do more for children with disabilities.
I feel like right now, accepting a child with disability into your school is an accomplishment, and it's really upsetting, and that shouldn't be there. I feel like we are like every other child, and it should be normal to accept a child with disability in your school.
Which is why we're really pushing for inclusive education every school, and because there's a law in place, and based on the law, you shouldn't reject any child with disability. However, some schools still reject children with disabilities and not accept them. There is no support. We started inclusive education projects and advocacy in Nigeria because we realized that sometimes when the kids go back to school, they are refused access. And so as a result, it doesn't matter if they have their limbs or not, they wouldn't want to stay in school.
I will never forget to.
Parents like Kamsi's father remain thankful that the foundation continues to grow.
IREDE Foundation has been very, very helpful and supportive throughout our journey. They've counseled her parents. They've also counseled Kamsi herself, telling her to be herself. Her disability is not a disadvantage. She can be whatever she will be in future.
So happy to hear that the foundation is reaching even more children in need. And Crystal tells us they plan to expand outside of Nigeria as they turn 10 next year. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Mari Chopo, and I'll be back next week with more incredible change makers.